rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Oh, it is the Beast's number. The Beast's number. It is the episode of the Beast. Which makes it suitable that I have the Hildebeest as one of the stories in today's episode. So the number of the Beast, 666. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Hildebeest and the warning that James Comey, or Comer, I should say, not Comey. God, there's so many different Jameses. Anyway, James Comer gave to the Hildebeest and her husband regarding their testimony on Capitol Hill. Anyway, we'll get to more of that. Also, I don't know if anybody noticed, but right over here in the upper corner, right here, take a look. Yes, that is right. Today is Purple Heart Day, National Purple Heart Day. And so I'm going to have this purple heart right here in the corner the entire time. So there we go. We also have two new submissions. One is this bar in the background came from Grok, and came from Grok, but came from 3 Chevy using Grok and send it in to me. So there's the bar behind me, brand new bar for tonight's background. Thank you for that, 3 Chevy. And also, we have a new submission for the pledge. That's right. Coming in at the wire, Fat Paws sent in his rendition of the pledge. So let's go ahead and get things kicked off with him. If you are of mine, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one like me. And follow along with Fat Paws as he recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And that is a fantastic rendition of the pledge there, sir. Thank you for sending that in. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself or reciting or performing the pledge in your style, and then take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and send it off to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. And I will get you into the rotation. That's number 17 now. We've got 17 total. I need another one. I'm kind of a OCD person, so I don't like odd numbers very much. So I need another one. I need somebody else to fill in and give me 18, please. Come on now. All right. Yeah, that was fantastic. Fantastic new rendition of the pledge. And then we'll get back to the regular rotation. So Fat Paws actually bumps Mrs. Whiskey down one now. And so he goes in at I'm just keeping Mrs. Whiskey at the tail end of everything. So I just need to get one more to get 18. Come on. Even me out, please. All right. Tonight's headline sponsor, it's Thursday, so here it is. The Institute on the Constitution was established in 2004 as a 501c3 nonprofit with one singular mission, and that is to restore the constitutional republic through grassroots education. All courses and materials are developed developed using primary source documents and taught from the American view of law and government as defined in the Declaration of Independence in the following 3 key points. 1, there is a God. 2, our rights come from him. And 3, the purpose of civil government is to secure and protect our God-given rights. The IOTC offers the opportunity to educate yourself on our most precious founding document, the Constitution of the United States. They also provide tools to educate your community and get involved with local government. Start by taking their free U.S. Constitution course and go from there. Use my affiliate link, iotc.americanperspective.online, to sign up, and while you are there, take a moment to look through their other course material and information. My affiliate link, once again, is iotc.americanperspective.online to get great content to learn about our historical founding and support the show in the process. That's iotc.americanperspective.online. Or if you just want to purchase this fabulous Saddleback leather-bound U.S. Constitution to support the show, all you need to do is go to constitution.americanperspective.online. Take a look at this. It's got 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant. No cheap glue inside here, folks. It is stitched all the way through the leather and binding the pages within. Every book purchase will give a liberal, socially inappropriate digestive emissions. God, 370, you kill me every time. Anyway, it's got, as my whiskey warriors all know, it has sexy rounded corners. And it is definitely leftist kryptonite. It's leftist repellent. For sure. It is buddy tested, buddy approved, Billy tasted, Billy approved. My youngest whiskey warrior has confirmed that the information contained within will help you study and achieve your civics badge in Scouts, as well as your civics test, I'm sure. Buddy follows in and says it's very customizable with an ice pick and leather boot laces. I don't know what you did with it, but okay, that's cool. Anyway, go and get yours today by heading off to constitution.americanperspective.online. Oh, that's just, you guys are just crazy. Anyway, there we go. Oh, it's already started, and I'm already, my chat's nuts. That's right, my chat are nuts. There you go. Hey, you know what? Coco, the insert name here, because she has so many different personalities. She brought up a good point. If you're going to buy a Constitution for a leftist friend, why don't you buy it with a roll of toilet paper? Because again, as Chevy points out, it's going to have inappropriate digestive emissions. So, oh yeah, okay. You guys all like the off the rails. There it is. There's the off the rails. All right. So, just to continue with this wonderful icon that is up in the corner up here, you can see it. It is Purple Heart Day. So, National Purple Heart Day happens August 7th every year. And just to give you a little bit of background on the Purple Heart itself is awarded to U.S. service members who were wounded or killed as a result of enemy action while serving in the military. The Purple Heart is the oldest active military medal in the United States. It's the oldest active military medal in the United States, with more than 1.8 million medals awarded to men and women who have sacrificed for our nation. On August 7th, 1782, George Washington established the award. That's why his head is shown on the medal. And it was originally called the Badge of Military Merit. And it was designed to commend soldiers who secured victories in battle. Continental Army soldiers William Brown and Elijah Churchill were the first to receive the Badge of Military Merit. So, it was one of the first military awards presented to both enlisted and non-commissioned officers. It was reinstated in 1932 on Washington's 200th birthday as the Purple Heart Medal and continues to be awarded to qualifying service members today. Purple Heart Day was established in 2014 to honor and recognize those who are awarded the decoration. The heart-shaped badge is purple because the color represents courage and bravery. So, in honor of Purple Heart Day, of course, we definitely want to recognize all of the military members who have bravely sacrificed for this nation. So, there you go. And there it is. So, yep. So there you are. Purple Heart Day. So that's why this is up in the corner and will stay up in the corner for the entire episode for that. So there you go. All right. So let's start off with something. You know, there's one thing that these leftist lunatic mainstream media anchors seem to really misunderstand. Well, they just flat out don't get it. That's all. They just don't get it. And this CNN anchor apparently struggles to understand why immigration laws are actually enforced. Really? Yeah. So Boris Sanchez is the CNN anchor who literally can't figure out why we are enforcing immigration laws. During the interview, Sanchez he was interviewing Acting Secretary of Homeland Security Chad Wolf. This was on a Tuesday segment of CNN News Central. And he specifically was kind of talking about the Trump administration's enforcement of immigration laws against individuals without criminal records. Well, let's just put it this way, folks. They crossed the border illegally. They have a criminal record. It just hasn't hit the paperwork yet. Anyway, during the interview, Sanchez referred to an internal ICE data that indicating that in states like Massachusetts, for an example, approximately 78% of the individuals arrested in the community raids had no criminal record beyond immigration violations. Wait, immigration violations, that would mean they have a criminal record. Hello? What part of that do you not understand? Anyway, Wolf responded to the question, with regards to that stat by saying, we saw that during the 4 years of the Biden administration where they said we're not going to arrest and therefore deport certain classes of illegal aliens here in the United States. And Sanchez, of course, challenged the idea of forcing the law as a deterrent, especially when the individuals in question have just overstayed visas or are undocumented but working in the United States. So Wolf replied to that, saying that enforcement actually applies to all individuals. Seriously, all individuals who have violated immigration law. Well, no kidding, regardless of their criminal background. This is the part that they seem to have missed. The leftists out there, when speaking about immigration, they seem to misunderstand the words illegal versus legal. Anyway, Wolf said, I think what you're deterring here is the fact that individuals knowingly break U.S. law. No kidding. Knowingly stay in the United States where they have no legal right to be here. Duh. Sorry. I'm sorry. These people are just, they're just so stupid. It really is. They're just so stupid. He goes, now, Sanchez replied back about President Donald Trump's remarks, acknowledging that certain industries, particularly agriculture, rely on illegal immigrant labor. He's like, so if the president says we need them, our food supply depends on them, why are they being targeted and not giving a pathway to obtain citizenship? Well, Wolf responded that he was not certain whether such workers were being deliberately targeted and reiterated ICE's responsibility. ICE is doing its job, which is to say they are removing individuals that don't have the legal right to be here. There you go. That's about as simple as I could even make it, to be honest with you. Sanchez, of course, continues. And he's like, ICE is raiding farms, are they not? He's like, why go after just a blanket population of folks when you actually, where you don't actually know if they've done something wrong? See, this is part of the problem. The leftists in this world seem to think that crossing a border illegally is not something wrong. Okay. They also view, in most cases, that, aborting your baby is not wrong. Again, folks, this isn't a rip on, brown people like some of the leftists keep wanting to talk about and say, oh, they're just targeting brown people. No, people, you need to understand. They're targeting people who have crossed the border against the law. I mean, we're basically applying what is considered to be broken windows policing to immigration. That's essentially what we're after. And so it's like, I mean, seriously, come on. These guys are just going to keep going back and forth about all of this because they seem to think that this is something that doesn't need to happen. Well, it's really pretty simple. If you make it easy, or if you tell people, hey, I am not going to enforce X law, whatever law it is. I'm not going to enforce it. What do you think is going to happen? There's going to be a bunch of people who are going to break it. Because why would they worry? There's no punishment. There's no consequence for performing the act. It's no different than when you look at your child and you tell your child you cannot eat cookies before dinner. And then that child gets into the cookie jar before dinner, eats cookies, and and then you look at him and you go, okay, well, you know what? I'm not going to punish you for that because, you had a sweet tooth and that kind of stuff. What do you think the kid's going to do? The kid's going to go and raid the cookie jar again and again and again and again. You have to put out some sort of a consequence for the action when you do not want the action to occur. And that's simply all that Donald Trump is doing here. It's like, hey, you guys came in here, you got, let in here, and now we're going to kick you out. I don't understand on it. I don't get how much simpler that we could possibly make it. But then again, these people, these leftists, are all morons, so they have no idea what they're talking about at all. All right. Well, some new information, or at least new information to me, has come out with regards to those runaway Texas Democrats that took off to Illinois. Apparently, Attorney General, Texas Republican Attorney General, I don't know why they don't just say Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, but whatever, they had to call out his political party. But anyway, he has now launched an investigation into a group that is led by none other than Beto O'Rourke. You remember Beto, don't you? Yeah, the guy that wanted to walk around and grab all your guns, and he was going to get every AR-15 or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, Beto O'Rourke is leads a group that apparently bankrolled dozens of Democrats to flee the Lone Star State to block the vote on new congressional maps. So now, Beto O'Rourke's group, called Powered by People, Paxton is saying now that they may have violated laws on bribery, campaign finance, and abuse of office. Now, Powered by People is funding a group of 50 state Democrats who each are facing a $500 daily fine after fleeing to Illinois. Paxton said any Democrat coward breaking the law by taking a Beto bribe will be held accountable. Texas cannot be bought. I look forward to thoroughly reviewing all of the documents and communications obtained throughout this investigation. These jet-setting runaways have already lost public trust by abandoning our state, and Texans deserve to know if they received illegal bribes to do it. So, yeah, there you go. Now, well, Beto O'Rourke responded back on X to the investigation and basically said the guy impeached for bribery is going after the folks trying to stop the theft of 5 congressional seats. No, they're not going to be they're not going to be stealing the seats. They're redistricting appropriately because they were gypped out of the census. Anyway, just to set the record straight, Paxton was impeached by the Texas House in 2023 on bribery charges, but was acquitted by the state Senate. Texas Attorney General is now challenging incumbent Senator John Cornyn, or yeah, I think that's right, in the 2026 U.S. Senate race. So Powered by the People focuses on organizing volunteers to help Democrats win elections in competitive Texas battleground districts. The leftist group says it is also focused on creating long-term changes to the Texas electorate that will outlast any one candidate or campaign cycle. Sounds a little bit like maybe gerrymandering is in that possible long-term changes. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we'll just have to see. Now, Paxton said earlier this week that he was going to seek judicial orders to remove the AWOL Democrats from office over their refusal to perform legislative duties. And we're still waiting on the Texas Supreme Court to determine that. I think the answer or the deadline, I think, is tomorrow on that. But anyway, so we'll just have to see. Senator Cornyn has also asked the FBI to help round up the Democrats and bring them back to the state. So this is because of the fact that state Department of Public Safety, state DPS or Texas DPS, which is the state troopers, can't really arrest anybody outside of the state. So, yeah. Anyway, President Trump also said earlier this week that the FBI may have to get involved for all of that. Three Chevy says, can we build a wall around Illinois? Actually, Three Chevy, I would like to build a wall like around California first. Just Western California. I just want to build a wall on the, top of the mountains, the Sierra Nevada right there. Yeah. I'd like to also do it to Oregon and Washington too, but if I did it to Washington, that means I'd be on the wrong side of the state, so I'd have to move first, but but anyway. All right. Well, let's just talk a little bit about the Russiagate scandal. There's some new information, and not necessarily new information, but new correlation that has been presented and done for yeah, sorry, Bam. You'll have to move. I think Nana of JJS has to do it too. Anyway, so there was some or maybe even My News. I don't know. I can't remember if Nana or My News is. Well, I think it's My News. Anyway, somebody would have to do it. I'd have to move too. But there you go. So there's some new correlations, by the way, with the information that has been put out both by the DNI and also available for public record. Apparently, President Barack Obama has now been found to have made public statements. Oh, okay. Nana's in Ohio. All right. Thank you for correcting me. The Bonnie, the I don't know if I want to call you the matriarch, but you're pretty damn close of the group. Anyway, so yeah. So anyway, back to where I was going. God, you guys are getting me all over the place. Talking about being off the rails. There we go. We're off the rails again. There's that That wonderful whiskey train falling off the rails. Submitted by 3 Chevy, of course. Anyway, as I was saying, President Barack Obama actually made some public statements before the intelligence community assessment was actually completed. Before. Now, how is it that he could have done that if he didn't know that it was being created and that it was being manufactured? So apparently he made a comment during an interview on NPR in mid-December of 2016 that, and this was roughly 2 weeks before the intelligence community assessment was actually finalized in late December of 2016. So Obama said during the interview that no one should be surprised by the CIA assessment, that this was done purposely to improve Trump's chances. In particular, he was making claims following anonymous leaks to the media about the CIA's alleged position of Russian interference. Now, that was before the assessment was even completed. That isn't the only one that he did. He also hinted at the exact same thing during a mid-December 2016 White House press conference and a mid-December 2016 appearance on The Daily Show. So he said it not only once, not only twice, but 3 separate times. 2 weeks ahead of when the ICA was actually completed and delivered. Really? So the stated deadline for the most highly classified, by the way, the most highly classified version of the ICA actually was not going to be completed until December 30th of 2016. Then a less declassified or a less classified version of the ICA would then be dated on January 5th of 2017. And then, of course, the public version of the ICA was dated the following day. How did Obama, who did not get the report, the completed report, how did Obama leak information on 3 separate occasions, 3 separate public occasions, if he didn't already know what was in the thing? Yeah. So that obviously, I mean, come on, that's just, there's no way that he would know. There's no way he would know that if the intelligence briefing wasn't even finished and delivered to him until 2 weeks later. He already knew. It's just how it is. He just knew. I can't even believe. Oh, these people. Yeah. So, yeah. Not to mention the fact that there's actually even some leaks that came out prior to this. So apparently the New York Times, and again, this is correlation, not causation, but this is correlation. The New York Times apparently reported on Halloween in 2016 that law enforcement officials say that none of the investigations so far have found any conclusive or direct link between Mr. Trump and the Russian government. And that was the link in reference to the hacking into the Democrat National Committee's emails. That report also stated that even the hacking into the Democrat emails, FBI and intelligence officials now believe was aimed at disrupting the presidential election rather than electing Mr. Trump. So, yeah. Even the New York Times was saying in the beginning, or even earlier, that, hey, none of this makes sense. There's no proof of it. There's no proof of all of this. Yeah, this is the greatest. Yeah, this is the greatest hoax perpetrated on the American people. Thankfully, it didn't result in anything. Thankfully. Just to continue, the Washington Post reported on December 9th of 2016 that the CIA has concluded in a secret assessment that Russia intervened in the 2016 election to help Donald Trump win the presidency rather than just undermine confidence in the U.S. electoral system. So there is where the first publicly available leak dripped out, was on the Washington Post. Yeah. Yep. And then the Washington Post backtracked the next day, reported the next day that the FBI is not sold on the idea that Russia had a particular aim in its meddling, and then quoted a U.S. official who then said, there's no question that the Russian efforts went one way, but it's not clear that they have a specific goal or a mix of related goals. Yeah. Anyway. Uh-oh. No, Mrs. Whiskey walked by the fan and, ooh, her perfume. Anyway, all right, enough about that. We all know Obama did it. Obama was the head of the snake. He knew what was going on. I mean, Clinton manufactured it. Obama went along with it and helped by manufacturing things. Well, shock of all shocks when it comes to the Epstein case. When it comes to the Epstein case. ABC News. You guys have got to see this, because I know the leftists out there, they're going to frickin' freak once this all shows up. But look at this headline right here. Okay? Look at that headline. Ghislaine Maxwell told the DOJ that Trump never did anything concerning around her. Okay. How many times do we have to repeat this over and over and over again? Yes, Donald Trump knew Jeffrey Epstein. Yes, Donald Trump flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane. No, Donald Trump did not go to the Lolita Island or whatever they call it. And no, Donald Trump was not one of Jeffrey Epstein's quote-unquote customers. And Ghislaine Maxwell is telling the DOJ exactly that. Ugh. This is getting ridiculous. But this is in ABC News for you leftist, liberal, lunatic morons that are out there. So apparently, according to sources familiar with what Maxwell said during her 9 hours of speaking with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanke last month, Ghislaine Maxwell said nothing during the interview that would be harmful to President Donald Trump, telling Blanke that Trump has never done anything in her presence that would have caused concern. Now, the left are probably going to say, oh, well, the reason why she's doing that is because she's looking for a pardon. Yeah. Well, the Trump administration, of course, is still considering publicly releasing the transcripts from the interview. They should. I mean, they should. They should just, they should just send it out to everybody. Why not? I mean, it's certainly not going to hurt. There's reportedly audio recordings of the interview as well, the sources have said, but it's not clear whether the administration plans to release the audio or just the transcript. So the public release of the transcripts could come as soon as this week. So, well, there's only one more day left in the week, so we'll have to see what happens. But anyway. Yeah. So there you go. Just for the record, Maxwell is asking the Supreme Court to review her conviction, and Trump has not ruled out a pardon for her. I personally think he probably should, but yeah, I mean, maybe he's holding back just to kind of dangle that carrot, because remember, Trump is very good at the carrot stick approach. He's dangling the carrot in front of her to get her to talk. So we'll just have to see what happens there. But yeah. Maxwell's lawyer, David Marcus, said following her meetings with Blunkey that Maxwell would welcome any relief. He also said that Maxwell was asked about 100 different people and said that she didn't hold anything back. So, yeah, we'll have to see. But anyway, now Maxwell did get transferred. Did get transferred to Texas, to a club, to basically what's known as Club Fed in Texas. And Trump was asked on Tuesday whether or not he approved that prison transfer. Trump, of course, said, "I didn't know about it at all. I read about it just like you did. It's not a very uncommon thing." Yeah, I highly doubt that. I mean, the president is going to know about this transfer. This is all being done under the Attorney General's office. I'm just saying it. Just saying it. So anyway, Trump also said that anything that Blunkey discussed with Maxwell during his meetings with her would be totally above board. So, yeah. Anyway. Once again, we were right. Conspiracy theorists are spoiler alerts nowadays. Well, Bill Clinton, of course, we all know, had a cozy friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. And of course, they have been asked to go and testify in front of the House in regards to this whole thing about Epstein. Well, yeah, there's, regardless of what you think of all of the photos that come out of Trump and Epstein together, the one thing that is extremely relevant and present in all of those photos, and not saying that every single one is this way, but the vast majority of the photos that you see out online and in the public that everybody is trying to like poke at Donald Trump, saying that he had this like really tight relationship with Epstein, and, Epstein fed him girls and all this other stuff, is the fact that the vast majority of the pictures that you see are out in public. There's not that many. There are a few, but there's not that many of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein together, kind of in private situations, if you understand what I mean. Unfortunately, that's not quite the case with Bill Clinton. So Bill Clinton has a couple of photos like this one here, where he was in a private airport. He's waiting for a refuel in Portugal, and he was flying on a humanitarian trip to Africa at this time. And in 2002, it was a humanitarian trip, but it was on Epstein's jet. And here he is being massaged by a 22-year-old young woman. I can't think. I'm going to have to find her name here. You guys have seen the picture. Yeah, Shantae Davies. And she was a massage therapist in Epstein's employ. And so they have this photo of Bill, on this essentially private trip, private jet, private airport, private airport lounge. And he's obviously enjoying this massage. Now, granted, she's a massage therapist, so, I mean, That doesn't necessarily make anything out of it, and I'm not suggesting as such. However, I'm just pointing out that there's not very many photos, if any, of just Donald Trump by himself alone in a room like this, or with very few people. So he also apparently, again, Clinton has been suggested that he went to visit the island, pictured here, 28 times. And so, it's kind of questionable as to whether or not he actually did the 28. He only claims like 1 or 2, but still. And you also have things like this photo, which you can see Bill Clinton and Ghislaine Maxwell posing together as they prepare to board Epstein's jet, or what is rumored to be or reported to be Epstein's jet. Again, there's not very many of these photos, okay, that are out there with Donald Trump in them without other people being in them, like his wife. So, the White House, or Epstein and Maxwell both visited the White House 17 times during Clinton's 2 terms in office, starting in 1993. Epstein donated to the Clinton campaign in 1992, later gave Mrs. Clinton, known as the Hillary, gave her $20,000 for her U.S. Senate campaign in 1999. Epstein also later visited Clinton at the Harlem office of the Clinton Foundation in 2002. So these folks are they are connected. More so than just happen to be in the same social circles kind of scenario. Well, they're being asked, Bill Clinton and Hillary, are being asked to, or they being essentially subpoenaed to show up in front of the House by House Oversight Committee Committee Chairperson James Comer. Well, James Comer points out in a very pointed warning to the Clintons with regards to not complying with the congressional subpoena. Now, keep in mind, people have Hunter Biden, for an example. Hunter Biden went and ignored the congressional subpoena for some time. And so, obviously, the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, Chairman James Comer, announced the multiple individuals being subpoenaed to disclose their relationships with Epstein. That included people like Loretta Lynch, Eric Holder, Merrick Garland, former Attorney General Alberto Gonzalez, William Barr, Jeff Sessions, former Special Counsel Robert Mueller was also subpoenaed. Reportedly, Mueller, actually, by the way, I saw an article, I didn't include it in any of the show notes, but he's supposedly in some sort of a age-related nursing home, having to deal with his memory. We'll see about that. But anyway, on Wednesday, Comer said that defying the subpoenas is going to be a losing game. So Comer posted a video on YouTube, and he said in that video, "I've never once lost a subpoena battle in court." He said, obviously, when you subpoena a former president, your odds aren't the best at getting them in if you look at history. But what makes this different is this subpoena was approved in a bipartisan manner by a subcommittee vote. So you had Democrats and Republicans on the record voting to subpoena that whole list that you showed, which I just read. And there were Republicans and Democrats on that list. In addition to those subpoenas, I also subpoenaed Pam Bondi for all of the Epstein files. Homer noted that everywhere I've been in Kentucky this week, people want to know about the Epstein files. They do. Comer said that the panel itself is acting in a bipartisan manner, because it sounds like, at least now, the Democrats want to know about the Epstein files. But anyway, he's, as you notice, he's kind of like, yeah, I could have a court do it. So anyway, so Comer said, if someone doesn't comply with a subpoena, we've seen it happen in the past, both in my committee as well as on the January 6th committee, where the Democrats had the majority, and you can hold them in contempt of Congress. And with a Republican attorney general, that's something that I think the Clinton legal team is going to think long and hard about. You're not going to have a lot of sympathy, probably, from the Trump DOJ if the Clintons failed to comply with a bipartisan, congressionally approved subpoena, which is what that was. He noted that even Pam Bondi is expected to abide by the rules. He says, Congress is very clear on this. We expect the American people to get the truth about the Epstein files. So, there you go. Apparently I got cut off on Facebook. They obviously didn't like what I was doing or what I was talking about. That's curious. That's quite curious. Let's see if I can kick it back off again. Nope, it's saying unable to connect. So they're blocking me. Oh, there we go. Wait a minute. Trying to send data. Trying to send data. We'll see. Anyway. Oh, yeah, it may have been the episode number. Possibly. We'll see. Let me see if I can see what it's doing here. Okay, it looks like it might be back. I don't know. I don't know for sure if that's what's happening here, but yep, it came back. I don't know what happened, but I am back over there. So anyway, I know the cool kids are on Rumble. You guys are always cool over there. All right, well, let's, I have a segment here tonight called Trump Says. Trump Says. So, yeah. Trump says that he may deploy the National Guard in D.C. Really? Well, okay, let's go back, and I'm going to reiterate this. The reason why he's saying that he wants to deploy the National Guard in D.C. is because of the fact that he wants to deploy them to help fight against crime. Now, there's only a problem with this. Okay, he wants to clean up the city about it. There's only one problem with this. First of all, in order for the National Guard to be utilized in their role, because remember, the National Guard actually has two different roles. They have two separate roles. The first role being that it being obviously attached to the federal government and doing things like going off to war and supporting operations like that. The second role that they have is the ability to go and be underneath the civilian direction, meaning the governors of a state, and do things like police matters and so on and so forth. Okay. The thing about it is that I'm not exactly sure where he thinks he's going to be able to use these guys if the local authority having jurisdiction, which would be essentially Muriel Bowser in this case, decides not to take it, just like she didn't take them on January 6th. Now, all of that being said, okay, the National Guard, like they deployed in LA, could be used to protect federal buildings in D.C., and that could that definitely constitutionally could be done. But I'm not exactly sure, again, how all of that would really work out. I mean, honestly, I'm not exactly sure how that would work out. So we would have to definitely see what happens or what occurs, what will occur in terms of this kind of scenario for this whole thing, because again, Trump is saying we're considering it because crime is ridiculous. So again, he's considering taking over the police in DC. Again, this, I mean, a lot of people will look at me and they think, oh, you're just a Trump sycophant. Well, no, actually, I'm not. I'm not a Trump sycophant. I'm going to call out when I think Donald Trump is wrong. In this particular case, I think he's wrong. He doesn't necessarily have the authority to be able to just automatically take over the police in DC. Congress does, constitutionally. Congress can do this. If Congress decides and asks the president to do this, then that could be done. But in terms of just the president himself putting this out, yeah, I'm not exactly sure that this would really stand up in a congressional or in a constitutional manner for that. So, again, this is one of those things where I'm sort of balancing on the line that says, yeah, I don't think, Mr. President, I don't think this is going to be able to do or going to be able to be done. Well, in another Trump says, he says that illegal immigrants will not be counted in the next census. Yeah, again, I don't think that can be done. And the reason being is because good old 14th Amendment, which a lot of people have gone after, but if you look at the 14th Amendment, and I'm looking it up right now, you'll see in Section 2, okay, yes, the teacher classes have come out. In Section 2 of the 14th Amendment, it says representatives shall be apportioned among the several states according to their respective numbers. And this is the key point. Counting the whole number of persons in each state. Now, it does have an exclusion there. It says excluding Indians not taxed. But the thing about it is it's a key point here of contention, which is essentially counting the whole number of persons in each state. It doesn't say counting the whole number of citizens in each state. See, this is part of the problem. I don't think, even though Donald Trump wants illegal immigrants to not be counted as a part of the census, constitutionally speaking, I don't think he can make that call. I'm fairly certain that he can't, based on what I just read to you. So as much as I would love for that to happen, okay, because, I mean, let's face it, the illegal immigrants shouldn't be counted for anything, including they shouldn't be getting anything special out of our government. But the fact of the matter is that I believe that if he really fully intends to do this on the next census, that he is going to face court challenges that he will likely get overturned. And he will likely get his call overturned. Now, Trump did say that, I have instructed our Department of Commerce to immediately begin work on a new and highly accurate census based on modern day facts and figures, and more importantly, using the results and information gained from the presidential election of 2024. Now, he does say, as in his post on Truth Social, he says people who are in our country illegally will not be counted in the census. So, yeah. So the Census Bureau does say, by the way, that illegal immigrants are counted. It refers to them as unauthorized migrants, and that they are included in the censuses and the surveys and are added into the, quote, total foreign-born population. And again, that, yeah, the census, the Bureau said the U.S. Census Bureau uses the term foreign born to refer to anyone who is not a U.S. citizen at birth. This includes naturalized U.S. citizens, non-citizen U.S. nationals, lawful permanent residents, temporary migrants, such as foreign students, humanitarian migrants, such as refugees and asylees, and unauthorized migrants, the Bureau said. So Trump's directive, of course, I think it's going to run into legal challenges, and I really think this is a bad move for him because of what I just read, Section 2 of the 14th Amendment. So, as much as I would love to say that that's probably going to pass, I don't think it will. Honestly, don't think it will. Constitutionally, it can't. Now, if Congress were to create a amendment to the Constitution to amend that and change, then there you go. So, yeah. All right. Last thing before I go, Pete Hegseth not only is making his mark on our armed services, he's also making his mark on Arlington National Cemetery. Arlington National Cemetery is now going to get its Civil War memorial that was removed by Joe Biden back. So Pete Hegseth announced on Tuesday that a Civil War monument removed under the Biden administration from Arlington will be restored to its original location. The monument, which is known as the Reconciliation Monument or the Confederate Memorial, was removed by the Pentagon in December of 2023 because of its links to the Confederacy. It was first erected in 1914 in a monument that sat in a section of the cemetery where around 400 Confederate soldiers were buried. So, Hegseth announced on X, "I'm proud to announce that Moses Ezekiel's beautiful and historic sculpture, often referred to as the Reconciliation Monument, will be rightfully returned to Arlington National Cemetery near his burial site. It never should have been taken down by woke lemmings. Unlike the left, we don't believe in erasing American history. We honor it." So, yeah, there you go. Anyway, fantastic news, and definitely, obviously, he's putting his mark on that, on everything that we've got going on in terms of the military. So, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. So, yeah. Yeah, history should not necessarily always be just the good stuff. It should be the bad stuff too, because the bad stuff, the things that we do that are not quite so good, can't be erased from history either, because we definitely don't want to forget those the things that we did bad. So anyway, I know I get a little bit of grief over the idea of holding Trump accountable, but I'm sorry, I'm going to have to. I mean, that's just the way things work around here. You need to understand the truth and the facts of the matter. I don't think that Trump can preclude illegals from the census, because again, the way that the 14th was written, it's all persons, whole persons. And notice they use the word whole because that's reference to the 3/5 clause in the original count. So, yeah. And I know I'm going to take a little flack from people who love Trump, who think that he's, the greatest thing that's ever been. But I'm sorry. If you're not doing something right according to the Constitution, I'm going to call it out. That's just how it is. We got to be real about this. Can't just be, the same sycophantic followers that the left has, which is everything that, during the last 4 years, everything Biden did was like so great to them. And they would, even if it was against the Constitution, even if it was against the SCOTUS rulings, they still believed that he was right. So anyway, and I'm not going to fall into that camp. Just not. I disagree with Trump on that. I disagree with Trump on the deploying the DC National Guard for doing something that it shouldn't be doing. Sue me. Anyway, all right. That's it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in on Rumble, search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, don't forget to hit those thumbs up, or in some cases, if you really want to, thumbs down, across all of my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.